Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com. Recently we've had a lot of requests for a how to put a ski quiver video together, and we're getting ready to launch our 2024 ski test. That is going to be live next week. So I thought I would take this opportunity to kind of run through my personal quiver of skis. We are going to do a video that kind of talks more about like how you should go through the process yourself, but you'll probably get some good insights here. And yeah, I've done one of these before, but I think it's been 2 years since the last one. And I'd say things have changed fairly significantly. There's one ski up here that was in the last video, I'm pretty sure, but yeah, aside from that, it's all new and pretty reflective of 2024 ski availability as well. So yeah, hopefully you find it interesting. And I think like it's always really important to remember that putting together a ski quiver is a very subjective thing. So like I would totally understand if somebody watches this video and they're like, well, he has way too many twin tips. And for a lot of people, that would be 100% true. But for me, I love skiing on twin tips, so you can never have too many. I regret saying that because I could absolutely have too many. But we'll start over there and go narrowest to widest. Before we do that, I thought it'd be interesting to at least take a look at boots. If you watch our content, you saw these on my feet all of last year. This is a Nordica Speedmachine 130, 130 flex, 100 millimeter last. I was skiing in a pro machine. I'm pretty darn sure the last time I did a what's in your quiver video. Maybe not. I don't remember. Forgive me for not remembering. But I was skiing in the pro machine for a long time. I've really switched 100% to this speed machine. I even had a speed machine 120, and then I don't even remember. I've had this 130 at least for a couple of years, or at least for a full season, maybe a season and a half. And yeah, this is pretty ideal for me. I like it a lot because it's a 130 flex boot. It's pretty darn stiff and pretty supportive. I can ski it aggressively. That pro machine was just a bit punishing, notably on park landings, which you'll see a lot of park footage as we go through this. So Speed Machine 130 strikes a nice balance for me because it's still a strong, powerful boot, but it's a touch more forgiving. Liner's a little bit softer, a little bit more friendly, a little bit more comfortable. I spend a lot of time in ski boots, so this works really well for me regardless of whether I am testing skis or in a race course or in the park or whatever. I don't know if you could tell, but they're pretty darn throttled. I think on the last quiver video, somebody was surprised that I replace my boots every year, but those things tack on 9 days on snow in Whistler, and I'm pretty sure those boots have 150 days on them, so they're like pretty much done. So I'll be replacing those likely with just another pair of Speed Machine 130s. This is the new Unlimited 130 from Nordica as well. Probably not a surprise. I'm a big Nordica boot guy. They've just worked for me for a long time. I think I talked about it in the previous video, but I used to compete in their boots back in the Ace of Spades days. And I had a Strider 130 for a long time. This is the Unlimited 130. It's the new replacement. I think a much better boot design. Haven't skied in it that much, but I'm really excited to do so. I got it towards the end of last season. It is a 2024 boot. And you'll probably notice I only have one pair of skis up here that actually has touring bindings on it, which certainly is reflective of how much I actually go touring. But I do use a boot like this for some other reasons too. I mentioned coaching with the Speed Machine. If I'm like going to a competition or something like that to coach, I often love being in one of these because you can just throw it in walk mode and have a slightly more pleasurable experience. So yeah, moving on to skis. I don't want to spend too much time on each ski. I feel like that could get, video could get very long. But yeah, so starting narrowest, this is a K2 Disruption Ti2. This is like a limited edition version. It was made in Seattle in the United States. This is pair 37 out of 50. So yeah, one of my, I don't know, I guess I get a sense of pride out of owning this ski, and I don't often get that from owning a ski. Probably just because I have a lot of them, but this one's pretty special. It's stiff, it's strong, it's super narrow. It is God, it doesn't even say, of course. Really just putting me on the spot. I can't remember. It's like 70 something underfoot. Very, very narrow. It's the closest thing I have to a race ski, and I race on it. So we have like a local beer league, ski bum race league here in Stowe, and I'm not always up for skiing these, but I at least like having them, because if the snow conditions are correct, I'm definitely fastest on these, even though it's the most challenging out of all of my skis, I would say. I'm pretty lightweight. This ski is very stiff, like super stiff. So for me, I find with this ski that if the snow is not firm enough, like borderline icy, then I just can't really bend it as much as I would want to, and it just turns into like not a super rewarding skiing experience. So if the snow is softer, even on a race day, I won't actually ski them. I'll ski one of the next two skis. But super fun in the race course, and also just super fun to ski if you feel like going fast and the conditions are firm. I just don't like skiing them when it's soft because they get bogged down and a little catchy. But super cool. Disruption Ti2. I kind of like that the closest thing I have to a race ski is a K2, because that's just like, I don't know. I don't think that's what most people think of. Next up, I have a Head Supershape Rally. I've been fond of this ski for a long time, kind of gained even more appreciation for it this past season because we did some testing of the bindings. We kind of did this PRD12 next to a protector and ultimately decided that we liked the protector more. And you might be asking yourself, well, Jeff, why don't you have the one with the protector on it? Well, that's because Bob and I flipped a coin and he has the one with the protector on it. So I do like this ski more with the protector on it, but super happy to own a pair now. They're really, really fun. Gosh, I'm gonna remember this one. Yeah, 78 underfoot. I could have guessed that accurately. 78 underfoot, I will check the turn radius because I won't remember that. 15.3. So that's way different than that Ti2, 78 underfoot, a much shorter turn radius. It's still a pretty stiff ski, not quite as stiff as that Disruption, but very precise, very rewarding. Works a little bit better when the conditions are softer. I think you could absolutely argue that it's a little bit of a short turn radius for like the race course that we have here in Stowe, which is kind of like a short GS course, but they work. And it's nice because I don't feel like I have to ski super, super fast to get a really rewarding feeling out of them. They come across the fall line very easily. I love the just super extended side cut in this ski and like how big that tip is because it just rips you across the fall line. So super fun. As a skier, like overall, I think like looking back or thinking back to the last Quiver video I did, I think I just had the Disruption MTI, that black K2. And that was kind of my only like real carving focus ski, and now you could say that I have 3, which I think is pretty reflective of just like the changes in what I like about skiing. I still love skiing park, I love skiing powder and trees and all that kind of stuff, but I definitely appreciate just a nice pair of carving skis more than I ever have. And I'm noticing how dusty they are right now, which is sad, but that's really why I own this thing. And this is certainly one of my favorite skis in my quiver. This is the Stockli Montero AX. We're 80 underfoot here. I believe the turn radius is pretty similar, a little longer, 16.5, so a bit longer than that Rally. And I said carving ski, kind of introducing those 3 skis over there, but to me this is a little bit more of an all-mountain ski. It's just an all-mountain ski that I take when I'm planning on skiing on the trail most of the time. I haven't really mentioned bindings yet on that Disruption Ti2. It's a full XL16 race binding, PRD on that Rally. And then this I mount flat. You can get it with like an integrated strive binding, but as you will see, becomes a theme. I really like pivots. And I just thought this ski had a very nice, like round, kind of natural flex pattern, and I wanted to at least retain that. I was going to say enhance, but I don't know that the binding enhances it. It really just retains the true flex pattern of the ski. and just very rewarding, super fun. Really, like, it is a carving ski for me, because when I ski it, I'm carving most of the time. But I love how forgiving it is. It's like a super, super high-end ski that's really easy to ski and doesn't, like, punish you. Like the rally, I would say, it can be a little bit more punishing, and then that Disruption Ti2 is, like, purely punishing. But yeah, really fun. And I actually, like, somewhat surprisingly, I raced on these a lot last year, and I think I had some of my better results on this ski. I think it's just because it's easier for me to bend, and I feel a little bit more confident just being on a wider platform. But unbelievable vibration damping in these skis. They are incredibly smooth. Yeah, just super fun. You know, if I don't want to ski park for some reason, then I'll take these. And also, kind of thinking back to that last Quiver video I did, it's interesting because if I really had to assess replacements of skis that were in that video, I would say this kind of, for me, replaces the Declivity 92, which is interesting because it's so much narrower. And I've kind of come around to the fact that for a directional all-mountain ski, I personally prefer being on something this width, because chances are I'm staying on trail most of the time. If I'm going off trail, I'm gonna choose one of these other skis because they're just a little bit more playful and a little bit more fun. So moving on, this thing's wild. And a lot of these skis you've seen over the past season in various reviews and stuff like that. This one you probably remember because it just is wild looking. This is the Black Crowes Mirus core with an old Rosignol FKS 18 on it. I love the orange and orange combo. This ski is 87 underfoot with a 13-meter turn radius and a twin tip and a swallowtail. So it's kind of interesting because this is like the closest thing I own to a slalom ski, if you're looking just at turn radius. So super, super rewarding to ski, and kind of has become like, it's weird to say, but it's almost like a Swiss Army knife in the skis that I own and choose to ski myself. And I mean that in how many different applications I choose them for. So one thing that I'm thinking specifically about is I had a big, like, family ski outing, or a day skiing with like 3 generations of my family over at Sugarbush this year, and I chose to take this because my family members don't ski as much as I do. They aren't going to be skiing as fast, and I love this ski because you can ski really slowly on it and still get like crazy dynamic performance out of it, a ton of responsiveness, and it's just so much fun. Like, carves and just rips carving turns, but with the twin tip you can throw it switch and ski switch a bunch. You can ski it in the park. It's actually like really fun in the park. It's different. Like, it doesn't feel like a dedicated park ski to me, but it's just fun. It like adds this weird kind of carving performance to jibbing, like to rail tricks and stuff like that. It just makes it like so easy to get from feature to feature, which, like, I never even thought that's something that I would be talking about, how beneficial it is, because I generally think about what's happening on the feature, not in between them. But yeah, the Mirus core is just so much fun to ski. I also coach on it, so it fills that role for me. I ski it just personally for fun because it's just so rewarding and so interesting, and it truly is one of my favorite skis available right now. But it's an interesting conversation because it's like weird, you know? Like, there's a lot of days when I don't want to ski it. Like, a lot of days when I don't want to make a 13-meter carving turn and I want to ski faster or whatever. So really cool ski to have in your quiver. And obviously I have a lot of skis in my quiver, and I think that's one that's easier to justify if you own a lot of stuff already. Moving on, this is the Elan Playmaker 91. I've actually got 2 Playmakers up here, which I did not think was going to happen. And I can talk a little bit about why that did happen, but this is awesome. And to me, this is like the closest thing I own to a dedicated park ski. I've got it mounted at the furthest forward recommended spot. For this, I chose this STH13 only because it's lighter, and this ski is already really lightweight, that I just wanted to keep it light and fun and snappy. So that was my thought process. And yeah, it's like it's the closest thing I have to a dedicated park ski in my mind. But at this point in my life, I don't need to be truly center mounted. It really feels weird saying that out loud, but this ski works super well for me. And the reason why I said it's kind of funny that I have two up here is it just kind of worked out that way. I skied the Armada ARV 94 a ton this past season, and to be honest, I could be holding that ski instead of this ski and saying like pretty much exactly the same things, because it was really hard for me to decide which ski I liked more in the park, to the point where I didn't decide and I just liked them both in the park. Armada actually asked me to send the ARV 94 that I had back to them. I think they're changing they like changed some sort of epoxy layup or something, and they wanted that ski back for some reason, and now I don't have it anymore. And I thought it would be a good point to bring up that ski as kind of an honorable mention. There is like, I know there's a lot of twin tips up here, but we go 91 to 97, so why not? I think there's room for an ARV 94 right here in the middle, maybe. But back to Playmakers here. I really appreciate these skis, and I know I've talked about this a lot already because we've done reviews on both this and the 101, but I just fully appreciate the amount of engineering and technology that has gone into this ski. I love seeing twin tips getting like higher end construction, and I just, yeah, super, super fun. So light, snappy, easy to ski, great mogul ski too. But usually when I'm choosing the Playmaker 91, I'm gonna be choosing it for park skiing. I'm gonna be skiing park most of that day. Yeah, pretty soft flexing, lightweight ski, so it's not like you get a tremendous amount of stability out of it. It's really quite playful, which is kind of cool to see. You know, we had 3 sort of stiffer carving skis over here, and then goes playful, playful. And then I think we have like a similar conversation over here. First ski over here is this Nightstick 97 from Fischer that like you can't buy yet, but you will be able to buy some early release versions of it. I don't know if I own this. Do I own this Fischer? At this point, I'm pretty sure I own it because I skied it over rails like 1,000 times, and I don't think anybody's going to want this ski back. But this is really interesting. I didn't really expect this to work its way into my Quiver. To me, it's a great ski to compare to this Unleashed 98 over here. You probably know how much I like that Unleashed 98, but something that I've learned over the years of skiing it now is that with the kind of extended side cut profile that it has, or the lack of substantial early taper, it can feel kind of like locked in and pretty demanding at times. This shape is a lot more playful. So whether I'm gonna ski trees on it, moguls, stuff like that, it's also less catchy in the park. And I had a ton of fun on it on Whistler, to the point where I really see myself skiing these more. And I think this is something that I didn't even think about until standing up here, but I feel like now that I'm up here looking at all these skis, you could easily make the argument that this is the most versatile ski up here. 97 underfoot, nice, easy, maneuverable shape, but there's still some metal in it. It's still got like some strength to it. So yeah, interesting. You know, and I'd say this is like, these two skis next to each other is where I see a little bit of crossover and where I could probably take a ski out of this Quiver. I mean, you could be laughing because you could take 9 skis out of this Quiver and still have a good time. But I do feel significant differences between the skis, so I personally am like really excited to own both of them. And I didn't have a raw colored pivot yet, so it was a good excuse to get a raw colored pivot. And then moving on to this Nordica Unleashed 98, ski's awesome. Like, it absolutely rips carving turns. It's really cool. It's probably, I mean, it's a weird comparison to Mirus Core, but take out Mirus Core, and certainly among the skis that I own, I think this is the best carving twin tip up here. Interesting that it's 98 underfoot, but it truly does hold an edge really well. There's a lot of camber in it. that extended side cut, so you get a good long effective edge, and it's got a pretty darn supportive flex pattern. So if you're looking for a twin tip that you can ski really fast and aggressively, I think the Unleashed 98 is awesome. And then again, like thinking back to the last Quiver video I did, I feel like this ski for me has replaced my Nordica Enforcer 104 free. And I think when we did this review initially, like when this ski first came out, I'm pretty sure in that video I said something like, oh, like I thought the Enforcer 104 is what I wanted as like a twin tip with metal in it, but really this is kind of more what I wanted. There's less metal in this ski, it's a little lighter. Those Enforcers are awesome. I actually, gosh, who ended up with my Enforcer 104s? This often happens. I'll unmount a ski and move the bindings to something else, and then I'll like be talking to somebody here at work, and they're like, oh, I'd really love this kind of ski. And then I'm like, oh, well, I don't need all the skis in the world. Here, take these. So somebody owns my Enforcer 104 freeze, and for a lot of skiers, that's awesome. Like, it's such a good ski. I think for a park skier, like somebody truly with a freestyle background, this Unleashed just works a little bit better. And yeah, just like rips carving turns and is so fun in the park. I do notice a difference between this ski and say the Nightstick or the next ski that we're going to look at when I take it into the trees. I wish you guys could kind of see how it's falling on the wall here, but because it's got so much camber in it and not a tremendous amount of rocker, like the way it sits across the wall, you can really see a lot of differences between this ski and this ski. This is the wider version of the Playmaker. This is the Elan Playmaker 101. And some of you might kind of laugh at me a little bit, but I actually think this is like the closest thing I have to an East Coast powder ski now. So kind of interesting talking again about that Enforcer 104 that I had in my previous Quiver video. I feel like this is kind of replacing that ski too, and it's just different. So it's like I took owning one ski and created it and split that into two skis. So this ski has way more rocker than the Unleashed. It's like incredibly surfy and smeary, which is really what I love to have here in Vermont as a tree ski. It like handles soft snow really well. It's just super, super easy to ski and very, very flickable and smeary and surfy and fun. And it still works really well in the park too. So it's like, you're probably picking up a theme here, but basically every single ski from Mirus Core, sorry to turn my back, to Playmaker 101, I can ski in the park, and that is a purposeful thing for me. So if I'm going out and I'm skiing park as hard as I can, like really, really have some specific goals that is pushing my abilities in the park, chances are I'm going to take this because it's lightest and quickest and stuff like that. But these three skis over here are a great way to think about like, oh, I'm going out and going all mountain skiing with some park involved. And then I have like three really cool choices depending on how I'm feeling, how I'm planning on skiing that day, what the snow conditions are going to be like. So this is like, I feel strong and powerful. I'm going to go out and ski fast and aggressively and like watch this carving turn. This is going to be sweet. And then I'm going to go do a 720. This is kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do today. This is like super well-rounded. I'm just going to bring this. And then Playmaker 101 is more like, I'm feeling incredibly playful today. I want to do a bunch of little jibby things. I want to do a nose butter 360 off a roller in like 10 inches of snow or something like that. So this is kind of a cool ski for me personally because it's going to double as like super fun, floaty, lightweight powder ski, and then also perfectly capable in the park. I think it's totally fair to say that both Playmakers, 91 or 101, they lack a certain something on a firm groomer. So that's what I won't be doing on those skis. And it like, look at all the other skis up here. That's totally fine that those skis aren't great at that because just about everything else is, at least everything that direction. I thought this was kind of cool. So I've talked about the influences that this ski had on the Playmaker 101, and I thought it was just fascinating kind of putting them on the wall next to each other because you truly can see a lot of like similar shaping concepts and stuff like that. This is the Ripstick Tour 104 from Elan again, Glenn Plake's signature ski. It's my only touring ski now, so I've gone through a cycle, a progression of touring skis. I think in the last Quiver video I had a 0G95, which I really liked. This has more tail rocker, it's wider. This can even act as like a resort powder ski for me too, because I've got this shift on here, which I personally don't mind skiing at all. I know there are people out there that don't love the shift, but I am not kidding you. I have never had any issues with it whatsoever. So yeah, Ripstick Tour 104 for me is super fun. I love how big the turn radius is. It's a 23-meter turn radius, and then there's a lot of tip and tail rocker in this ski as well. So it gives it just a very, very surfy, smeary, easy going feel. And it's been hard for me since this ski came up to ignore how much tail rocker's back here. And it gives it kind of like this more freestyle inspired feel than you might expect. You know, I still think it's more of a directional ski, of course, but there's a lot of rise back there. It's like not quite enough for me to feel comfortable skiing switch on it, but certainly enough that it feels surfy and smeary and playful and fun. I guess my one complaint about shifts is how much they get stuck together, but that feels like not much of a complaint whatsoever. And then last ski up here, once again, I am so sorry to turn my back to you, but this is a lot of skis and I don't know what else to do. This is the one ski that I mentioned at the beginning of the video is still in my quiver. Have not given up an Enforcer yet. I still think they are fantastic skis. In fact, you could build a quiver that was just 6 Enforcers and call it good. 5 Enforcers. There's 5 Enforcers now. Again, my apologies. So this is the Nordica Enforcer 110. This ski's huge, 110 underfoot, a lot of rocker. This is the 185. It's got 2 sheets of metal in it. It's got a pivot 18 on it. Some of you might remember that I had a Duke PT16 on this ski, and I kind of referred to it as like my heli skiing ski. I didn't go heli skiing at all. And ultimately, Bob and I ended up making kind of a friendly trade. I gave him that Duke PT16. I believe he's got that on an Enforcer 104 Unlimited now. And then I put this Pivot 18 on here because I wasn't really going to tour on it. It was pretty darn heavy with that Duke PT16. The concept was cool. I enjoyed the concept, and I don't know, it's like kind of a fun thing to own. But this is better for me and how I like to ski and what I like to do. But it's a lot. I don't really ski these on the East Coast ever. No, that's not true. I think I skied them twice last year on kind of some bigger powder days. Gosh, I really should have cleaned these skis before doing this video, but I suppose that makes it more authentic. So yeah, it's super heavy. It's just nice to have. Like, I like having this ski in my quiver. If I happen to be going out west and I know it's going to be a really good stretch of snow conditions, it's just interesting. Like here in Vermont, if I do ski these, I either don't ski them super long, like I'll take a couple runs on them and then switch to something else on a powder day. I just feel like when you get into tighter terrain here in Vermont, this is a lot of ski and a lot of ski to maneuver. And that's really where that Playmaker 101 comes in. But it would be pretty reasonable for me to go like a couple runs on these and then switch to the Playmaker as like open trails got tracked out. But super fun, endless stability, and still like really easy edge release. It's just the weight that makes them a little bit more tiring than some skis. And another reason why like they don't get used more often here is we have like a finite number of powder days here in Vermont, and kind of with my position in the company and what I try and do for all of you, generally when we have a big, deep, soft snow powder day, Bob and I will be testing something new. You know, like good example would be like last year or for 2024, Vocal has the new Blaze 114 and Revolt 114, and those skis are awesome. They're so cool, and like they deserve their spot in the industry. But I can't really take it out and test it on a groomer day. So when we get, like, if we got a foot of snow overnight, it's pretty common for us to be like, all right, like you bring three of these wider skis that we need to test. I'll bring another 3, and then we just kind of go through that cycle of testing those skis. So yeah, somewhat regrettably, the widest skis that I have in my quiver don't get used very often. But yeah, I just think they're cool, and I love the white pivot. So that's it. Let us know if you have any questions, or let me know if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to answer them. And yeah, we will do a video kind of like talking through how to build a quiver for yourself, different ability levels, what you should look for, realistic expectations, you know, like, do you need 3 skis? Do you need 10 skis? Probably not, because I don't really either. But yeah, I feel lucky that I get to own all these cool skis. So yeah, this is what I'll be skiing on, at least for the foreseeable future. Usually what happens in a ski season is a company will announce a new ski, and halfway through the ski season, I end up with a pair in my office somehow, and often those skis become my own skis. But that has not happened yet. And yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to be hard pressed to get me to replace any one of these skis up here, because they're all sweet. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you soon, and keep an eye out for the ski test launching next week.